The tweet from last night that caught my attention from the political Twitter site called the Horse Whisperer.
Bernie Sanders has been making what I think is an obvious observation that the media has a particular corporate-friendly frame, and that framework works against his campaign.
Do I think Jeff Bezos is on the phone telling the editor of the Washington Post what to do? Absolutely not. It doesn't work that way. But what I think is in media in general, there is a framework. The New York Times operates under, that the Washington Post operates under, CNN operates under. For example, I've been in politics for a few years. You know what? Not one reporter has ever asked me, Bernie, what are you going to do about the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality? You're going to ask me that? Is that part of what media talks about? What are you going to do about 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of America? Bernie, what are you going to do about 40 million Americans living in poverty, 500,000 people sleeping out on the street? Why is it, Bernie, that we are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people, and we spend twice as much per person as other industrialized countries? Do you hear that question being asked by the corporate media very often?
But by not asking that question, does that make the media unfair?
It does in a way. It does in a way. It doesn't mean it's unfair to me personally. But if those are the issues that I am campaigning on, and those are the issues that I cannot talk about, then what I am trying to do does not get out to the American people.
Now, the media has been trying to reject this observation, but as I said, it's obvious. The examples that Bernie brings up there are obvious. The media never frames questions from the perspective of the average person, of people in poverty. I put out another example on Twitter saying, how many times have you seen a televised debate begin a question with 2/3 of Americans who file for bankruptcy do so because of healthcare costs? What are you going to do about it? It's never happened. So the questions that the media puts out there, the way they frame these arguments, is always from a corporate-friendly perspective. It's never from the perspective of the average person, and that's the observation that Bernie is making here. So, as Bernie said, it doesn't mean the media is unfair to me personally. But I actually disagree with Bernie on this. The media is unfair to him personally. So here's several examples from Crystal Ball of The Hill, where she breaks down examples of that media bias against Bernie Sanders.
We had some major undies and a twist yesterday after Bernie Sanders dared to question the corporate control and bias of some of the media. See, apparently in the age of Trump, all criticisms of the media are off limits, or at least that's what the media wants you to believe. Now, it's kind of hard to make the case that a lot of the mainstream media is fair to Senator Sanders when you just take a look at their coverage. Just this week, after a trip to the Iowa State Fair in which Bernie drew what many described as the largest crowd, the Times panned his visit, alleging that he spoke to no one and, quote, didn't even slow his pace as he grumpily ate a corn dog. There was Mimi Rocha on MSNBC saying unchallenged that Bernie wasn't pro-woman and made her skin crawl. Just yesterday, Nate Silver, he of Strictly Facts and Data, tweeted out without any facts and data that, quote, you get these hints of a sense of entitlement from Sanders. Maybe my favorite example, though, is that time Politico ran this headline: Harris, Warren tie for 3rd place in new 2020 Dem poll, but Biden still leads. What's missing here? Well, they managed to get in the 1st place contender and the 3rd and 4th place contenders, but conveniently failed to mention Sanders sitting right there at 2nd place at a time when the narrative was that he was losing out to Warren and Harris.
So you see several examples there broken down by Crystal Ball. And by the way, Crystal Ball is a former host of MSNBC. She comes from that world. She understands how they frame these discussions. And understand here, it's because Bernie Sanders is the one candidate that actually challenges their concentrated wealth and their concentrated power. It's not like they just picked him out of a hat and decided to, attack him in this way. He is the one that is pointing out these serious issues in society, that is pointing out real issues with the system, and he is actually challenging the system, which is why they go after him. Now, the most recent example of this media bias is almost unbelievable. This was last night on MSNBC. MSNBC host Brian Williams read out a tweet from an anonymous Twitter account known for attacking Bernie Sanders. Read out this anonymous troll account, read out this tweet lying not even just trolling, straight out lying about what Bernie Sanders did in 2016.
The tweet from last night that caught my attention from the political Twitter site called the Horse Whisperer. Okay, since this is trending, here's my Bernie story. The year was 2016 and Bernie was already long eliminated from contention. An actual Democrat would have stopped torpedoing the nominee and worked to defeat Trump, but Bernie had books to sell. The end. That kind of nicely sums up how some Democrats feel about Bernie.
All right. This, first of all, the content of this tweet, again, a complete lie. And I'm going to showcase to you in a minute here exactly how it was a lie. And I'm going to show you how it was a lie using another MSNBC host and their coverage of what Bernie did in 2016. But before we get there, there's a good chance that MSNBC or some hosts on this network know who runs that account. So there is speculation. I haven't been able to verify it. There's speculation that this account is run by an independent consultant that has clients including Exxon. But I couldn't verify that, so I'm not going to showcase who that person that runs this account may be. But that's beside the point. Look at the many interactions that Stephanie Ruhle, MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle, who was also on this episode of that show yesterday, Stephanie Ruhle had with this Horse Whisperer account dating back to 2017. So she's interacted with this person over and over and over again. Now, you may say, oh, but that's just Twitter, right? I mean, people interact with accounts they don't know all the time. It's not like she, congratulated the Horse Whisperer for getting their tweet on air. It's not like she did that, but she did. So this tweet went out saying, yeah, to OMG, Horse Whisperer, your tweet made it to the 11th hour. And then another tweet saying, looking good on 11th hour, Horse Whisperer. So it sounds like at least Stephanie Ruhle may know who this person is, or at the very least has had interactions with this person and approves of that lying tweet that went up. But you may think, oh, how is this a lie? I mean, Bernie Sanders, he didn't help Hillary Clinton at all in 2016. Here is MSNBC's own Rachel Maddow discussing what Bernie Sanders was doing at the time in 2016 to help Hillary Clinton win the election.
There was this lingering question at the end of the Democratic primary as to whether or not Bernie Sanders really meant it when he endorsed Hillary Clinton, whether he really meant it when he said he would work his heart out all over the country to get her elected. Well, he's been working his heart out. It's true. He started campaigning for Clinton really in earnest, basically as a full-time gig a couple of weeks ago. He appears really to be flooring it for Hillary Clinton. Over the first 5 days Bernie Sanders spent on the campaign trail for Hillary Clinton, over 5 days, he did 14 events for her. Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, 14 events in 5 days. Yesterday and today and tonight, he's stumping for Hillary Clinton in Colorado. On Wednesday, he's going to Nevada for her. Tomorrow, though, he is spending all day and all night in Red State, Arizona. Bernie Sanders doing a rally for Clinton tomorrow in Flagstaff at 2:30. Then he's doing another rally for Clinton in Tucson at 7.
So apart from the fact that Horse Whisperer account is an anonymous troll account and that MSNBC aired that as some sort of authority on this issue, the content of the tweet is a complete lie. They aired that complete lie on television without giving you the other side of the argument, the actual factual side of the argument. But you may say, oh, 14 events in 5 days, blah, 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 who cares? What really matters is that the Bernie voters, well, they did not come out for Hillary Clinton. Me as a jerk on the internet, I know that 12% of Bernie's voters voted for Donald Trump. Well, this from Vox. Defections from a primary to general election are common. More voters went from Hillary Clinton to John McCain in 2008 than went from Sanders to Trump in 2016. About 13% of Trump's 2016 voters also voted for Barack Obama in 2012. In fact, 25% of Hillary Clinton voters in 2008 voted for John McCain. 25%. And Obama still won that election in a landslide. So, despite all the facts, despite that Bernie helped Hillary's campaign, 14 events over 5 days, the fact that way more of his voters voted for Hillary Clinton than Hillary Clinton voters voted for Barack Obama in 2008. Despite all those facts, MSNBC proves Bernie Sanders right, and not only proves him right, but goes even further by showing that there's an actual media bias, not just in terms of a corporate frame, but an actual media bias against him and his campaign personally.